It's that time again. Guess where I am? Can you guess where I am? No, I'm not on some island somewhere down near the tropics listening to the crickets. Aren't crickets wonderful? What a lovely sound, isn't it? It just reminds you of hot summer nights. We don't have crickets here in the UK, unfortunately. Having said that, some people reckon they have heard one or two at night. I haven't myself, but I do love the sound of crickets. When I say guess where I am, I'm actually in my high-tech studio, as usual. But I can't give you a weather report because by the time you listen to this on Wednesday, the Midweek Message, I will be on the Isle of Wight, not some tropical island with crickets, but the Isle of Wight, hopefully with a bit of sunshine. I don't know. 8 o'clock Wednesday morning, this episode comes on. What will I be doing? Looking out of the chalet window thinking, stone the crows, look at that dreadful weather, or will I be putting my shorts on, stepping outside and frightening the natives? The latter, hopefully. I have my portable recorder with me, so I will probably be boring you next Sunday with a bit of an Isle of Wight walkabout. Hopefully something of interest, rather than just me saying, oh look, we're here, oh look, now we're there, now we're over there. No, we're not, we're here. I will try to make it interesting for you. Hopefully I won't just wander around aimlessly, rambling into the microphone. Thank you, Joe, for the photo of the fan heater. I don't know where you're from, but you sent me that. And I've put that on the website along with the what I call the fan heater building, rants.info. Thanks for that, Joe. That's exactly the fan heater I had in mind. You can now see why I call the building a fan heater. As I'm recording this on Sunday, don't even know what day it is. I never know what day it is. As I'm recording this on Sunday, before we go off to the island tomorrow, I don't know whether any of you have sent me photos of dreadful architecture where you live somewhere in the world. There must be some dreadful buildings that you look at and think, stone the crows, what sort of architect designed that rubbish? So if any of you have sent me photos, I will put them on the website when I get home. Talking of crickets, I had a couple of loudspeakers a few years ago. They looked like rocks. They didn't look like loudspeakers at all. I put them in the garden. I had 4 altogether, I think. I hid them all in bushes and things. And I played a loop of crickets in the summer evenings. And it worked really well. You'd step out into the garden, it's a warm summer evening, and you'd hear the crickets just coming out of the bushes in the background. It was wonderful. And whenever anyone came round, they were quite amazed. Oh, crickets. I didn't know we had crickets here in Britain. We always have crickets in our garden at night. Are you sure you don't? That was good fun when we had an evening barbecue. Get a few people round and there's the crickets and the warm evening and, oh, wonderful, the smell of the barbecue. Excellent. Why am I talking about warm summer evenings and crickets and barbecues when we're heading for the winter? All right, for you lot down under, down in Australia, New Zealand, your summer's coming. You've got your springtime now. And have you got crickets? Of course you've got crickets in Australia. I know in America you have. That was one thing I noticed when we went to California, 1975 that was. The first evening we were there, I went out into the garden, this place we were staying, and all I could hear were crickets. Wonderful, warm air, crickets, absolutely fantastic. That's something I'll never forget. But I will forget warm summer evenings for the moment because it's not been warm here of late. Nice blue sky, but not warm. How are you? What have you been up to? Anything good? Have you done anything bad? If you have, don't get caught. Do let me know what you've been up to. Raise rants at protonmail.com. Be good to hear from you, as always. I was talking, I think it was last Sunday, wasn't it? Was it last Sunday or the one before? About Sunday closing. Quite a few emails about that. In the old days, everywhere was closed on a Sunday. The streets were empty. I remember my dad driving downtown. I went with him. He had to post something at the main post office. And the streets were empty. There's just no one around. 1 or 2 cars, if you're lucky. That was about it. And quite a few emails about that. Thank you for that. Some of you agree with Sunday closing. You think it should be here now. And of course, some of you think it's a good idea to have everything open 7 days a week. It's about 50-50. I suppose I was going to say these days. What's the difference between these days and those days? Things were a lot quieter then, not so many people. Only a couple of channels on the television. Had the radio to listen to, of course. Everywhere was closed. It was a family day. I think Sundays were more of a family day back then, when I was a boy. Whereas now it's, well, I don't know, nothing sort of changes, does it? OK, we don't get a post delivery on a Sunday. Well, I believe we're not going to get one on a Saturday before too long, the way things are going. But these days, everywhere's open. Families, of course, go out to Sunday lunch, don't they, to a pub or a restaurant? They go out for Sunday lunch. That didn't happen back then. Sunday lunch was always at home, always Sunday afternoon. I think I mentioned before, the pub was open 12 till 2. The man of the house, as he was known then, I'm not trying to be sexist, the man of the house would go down to the pub, meet a few of the regulars, the locals, have a chat, couple of hours, then home to Sunday lunch or dinner, and then go to sleep in the afternoon, go to sleep. That's the way it was. It was a relaxing day, whereas these days, Sunday, it doesn't sort of change, does it? OK, a lot of people have the day off, but nothing really changes. Shops are open, cars are whizzing around. Nothing changes. Which would I prefer? That's what you're probably thinking. I don't know. I like the old days, of course. So I don't know. I really don't know. I must give that one some thought. Actually, Sunday was a kind of traditional thing. Sunday breakfast, the usual sort of fried bread, all the fatty things, fried bread, fried eggs, fried bacon, everything was in the frying pan, wasn't it? With a lump of lard in there, stinking the house out. Coffee, toast, marmalade, all the traditional kind of English breakfast, as it's called. A lot of people went to church, of course, a lot of people. I remember in our road, people would go off down to the local church. They'd be there for an hour or two. Then there was the pub. I'm not sure that the churchgoers went to the pub. They probably did. I'm sure they did, some of them at least. Then to the pub, then home, have dinner. Bonanza on the telly. I mentioned this before, haven't I? Bonanza on the TV. Various other programmes Sunday afternoon. And then Sunday tea. I do remember Sunday tea. That was nice. And then, of course, it was bath night. Sunday was bath night because school the next day. I'm not going to bang on about school. You know what I think of that. So it was a sort of tradition in the summer. Perhaps out for a picnic on a Sunday, drive out to the countryside, take your picnic, or down to the beach, if the weather was nice. It was a special day. A lot of people worked a 6-day week. I did when I started as an apprentice. 6-day week, Monday to Saturday. We only had the Sunday off. Whereas now I think a lot of businesses, they do close Saturday and Sunday for the entire weekend. Whereas back then we were just, well, everything was open all day Saturday. There's a lot of talk, isn't there, about a 4-day week? I think the train drivers, what's it they were saying about train drivers? They're on a 35-hour week. That's not a lot, is it? 35 hours. It does seem to be going that way. People working from home, people working less hours every week. Of course, back in the old days, there was always a lot of talk that as technology comes in and robots take over in the factory, there'll be computerised equipment, as there is. People will hardly have to work at all. You perhaps only go in for a day or two to check everything's all right. I don't know anyone that kind of pops in once or twice a week. Mind you, having said that, people that work from home, some of them don't go into the office at all, perhaps once a month, to show their face. Hi, I'm still here. I'm still on the payroll. Don't forget me. And some might have to go in for 2 or 3 days a week. The rest of the time they work from home. Obviously, not everyone can work from home. What was that about school teachers they were talking about on the news recently? Saying school teachers could work from home. Don't quote me on that. I didn't quite hear the whole news article. Something about working. I mean, they obviously can't teach kids from, well, I suppose they could, via computer links. No, that wouldn't work, would it? I think what a lot of people don't realise is working from home is fine. I worked from home for many, many years, decades I've worked from home. But you miss that social thing at work. When I was in my workshop repairing and restoring the vintage valve radios, Tricia was out at work. I'm here on my own all day. No one to talk to. No one to have a coffee with or a chat or a laugh or a joke. Nothing, just me. And I must admit, at times I used to think this is boring. Just getting on with the radio repairs on my own, it's just boring. Of course, everything that was talked about a few decades ago, none of it's happened. North Sea oil and gas. We're going to have free gas. There's so much gas under the North Sea. It'll be free, virtually free. Well, that never happened. Gas prices just went up and up and up. So petrol. What was it the other day? Someone said, we've got the most expensive petrol in the world. Why? Why is that? The most expensive electricity, the most expensive petrol. That's rip off Britain, isn't it? I was talking about the other day. Let's end on a brighter note. We're supposed to have a mini heat wave on the way here in Britain. Mind you, they all lie. All the just before we do a brighter note, all I hear now on the news is about people lying. I don't do politics, as you know, but you know what I mean? All I hear about is, he's a liar, she's a liar, they're all liars, everyone's lying all the time. And I must add to that, the weather forecast people, they they lie all the time. Well, they seem to. Now, let's say they're mistaken. That reminds me of something else I won't go into now. Anyway, I'm now going to pack up. I've got radios to pack up, radios to talk to people, radios to listen to things. I have a special briefcase that I fill with radios and other electronic goodies. Tricia has done all the packing because we're off down to Portsmouth to catch the ferry. It's rather nice. The holiday starts when we get on the ferry to the Isle of Wight. We sit there in the lounge, look out of the window across the Solent, all the yachts and the huge tankers and things. That's good. That's when the holiday starts. We take a flask of coffee. I'm not buying their coffee. Rip off. I don't like it. It's in cardboard, is it, or polystyrene cups? Disgusting. We take our own flask of coffee, bit of cake or a couple of sandwiches. I'm trying to lose weight. You wouldn't think so, would you? Anyway, listen, I am going to see you all on Sunday. As I said earlier, I'm on the Isle of Wight now, or I will be when you hear this. I'm not now, I'm at home. Be good, be bad, don't get caught and all that nonsense. Email me, rants@protonmail.com. I can answer emails while I'm away. Look at the website, rants.info. Behave yourselves. Hope the weather's good where you are. Stay healthy, stay happy. They're the most two important things, aren't they? Health and happiness. And I will see you on Sunday. Thanks for listening. You've been lovely company. Bye-bye for now.